Well, today is a travel day, and our ultimate destination is going to be Madrid, Spain. And so we will not be taking the camper. We're not going to go by the storage and get that thing hitched up. We're going to be heading for the Greenville airport, and then from Greenville we're going to fly to Newark, and that's where our international flight departs for Madrid, Spain. So we will see you guys in a little bit. Adios. So we were off to the Greenville airport. Now there is an airport nearby closer to our house in Asheville, but there's a limited amount of flights going in and out of there, and a lot of times we end up having to go to the Greenville airport, which is about an hour away. But it, a lot like the Asheville airport, is also one of those airports that it's not super crowded, and so we had to catch one of those smaller planes from Greenville up to Newark, and got into Newark and had us quite the layover. At the Newark airport, we had quite the layover here. It's been several hours. So we've already had a meal, and then now we are just hanging out, waiting, and more waiting for our boarding time. We have made it on board our flight, and now it's the long, arduous task of getting an international flight loaded up, which usually takes forever. So we started off in these one seats, and then we had paid to be upgraded to a little bit better seat, and we didn't get that, and so Kelly very persistently kept talking to some folks, and finally we got moved up to this bulkhead, which is a huge deal because if you've never traveled internationally and experienced what jet lag is, you have to basically be able to pretend you're sleeping while sitting in an aircraft, and it's difficult to do if you can't move or stretch your legs or anything. So at least with these bulkhead seats we were able to stretch our legs out a little bit, and so usually these flights are 6 or 7 hours depending on where you're going, and then you lose 6 or 7 hours depending on where you're going, and so you leave at 7 or 8 at night U.S. time, and you arrive at your destination at 7 or 8 in the morning at where you're going, and so you have to try to somehow sleep on the plane. We made it to Madrid, and now we are looking for our ride. We're supposed to have a cab driver waiting for us with a sign that says Ronald Posey, but there's no cab driver waiting with a sign, so it turns out our cab company refunded our money and is not going to pick us up. So we are just heading to the front of the cab line, and we're going to just catch a cab. Well, we didn't have to wait too long to get us a taxi cab, and so after that, what you would call a less than adequate night's sleep, you have to just arrive at your destination the next morning and you hit the ground running. So it was about a 25 to 30 minute cab ride from the airport into our hotel, which was located in downtown Madrid. Times Square look to it. I don't know what it's normally like, but the traffic did not seem that bad to me. We were able to make it down to our hotel without any big snags or delays. It all seemed to flow well. So this was our hotel that we were going to be staying at. It's the Hotel Preciados. Made it to the Hotel Preciados in Madrid, and we were just discovering our little AstroTurf patio.
Oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. And we're joining Ben and Amy and Amy's mom, Margaret. They are over at the Prado right now at the museum, and so we have just got here to our room. So Hola! Alright, this will do. And we are still waiting to get hooked up with Ben, Amy, and Margaret. So on the day that you arrive after one of these flights, it's very important that you stay awake and keep moving. If you stay in your room, your hotel room, for very long, you're going to fall asleep. You're going to want to sit there and be still, and the next thing you know, you're going to fall asleep. So Kelly and I went out to a little restaurant across the street from the hotel and got us some lunch where we could sit and watch the people go by. As Kelly and I started to walk around, right away we noticed these sculptures and knew what they were. It's an art installation based on a Diego Velázquez painting, The Ladies in Waiting. And what cities sometimes will do is take a famous artwork and then they allow local artists to put their spin on it, so that we started seeing these all around town. And we have these in Hendersonville also. We've got the bears, and they switch them out and they let local artists each year put in some new installation. Next we happened into the El Cortez Inglés, which is a huge 10-story tall department store in downtown Madrid. And this is an old school place. It's similar to the downtown department stores like Harrods in London or Bloomingdale's in New York. It's the top floor has this really nice food court where you can sit and look out upon the city. Really nice department store, and Kelly and I just enjoyed killing some time in there. That must be some damn good scotch. Under Taste of America, they got a lot of sugar. Their electronics department was really off the chain. They had these nice virtual reality testing stations where you could put on the virtual reality goggles and get in and do these simulations. So anyway, we killed some time there, and then it was time to get hooked up with our other traveling companions, so we caught a cab. They had just been to the Prado all morning long and were having lunch, so we hooked up with Margaret and Amy and Ben and spent a little time with them while they had some lunch. In Retiro Park in Madrid, I believe. And so people are out and about enjoying the sunny day. So typically in these really big, really old European cities, there's always the park, like the huge downtown park, and Retiro Park is no exception. It's like almost 350 acres right in downtown. Used to be land that the monarchy owned, and then they eventually gave it over to the city. So it's a really fabulous park, and it was the perfect thing for Kelly and I to be doing on jet lag day, to be out getting some sun, walking around. Where did you know to go to? Two?
Well, this is a only one line station.
I somehow don't think so. Sorry. Not believing it. Not believing it. So we ended up at this place, El Placer de la Carne, and that's like Arby's or something. It's the place of the meats. Had us a good meal there, and then we were in for the night. So it is a beautiful sunny day here in Madrid, and we are about to take in the Royal Palace. Head over to the armory first and check that out. Was a tour of the armory. It was one of the most extensive armories I had ever seen. They had more examples of the chainmail and armor for the horses, armor for the niños, but they didn't allow any filming. I tried a little bit of filming and got caught, and then I did one more sneak piece, but they were not allowed to film in there. But it was quite the impressive armory. Our tour of the armory began, and I didn't know at the time what the policy was, whether you could film or take pictures or whatever, and I started, and you can see a guy down at the end with waving that finger. He's like, no, no, no. So I put the camera away. I had one more chance to get it out. Got a little bit of stealth footage here. So after our tour of the armory, it was off to the royal palace itself. The palace has occupied these grounds. The royal families have lived here since forever. And this happens to be one of Europe's largest palaces by square footage, and it was huge. Mostly no filming policy, so there's not a lot of footage. I was able to get a few times. I snuck the camera out. Here's the throne room where the royalty would sit and hold court. So the palace today is not being used by the royal family. They live someplace at a smaller palace outside of Madrid. Today it's just used for state functions and that type thing. Madrid has its share of churches, and when we're talking churches, these European things are just these massive ornate structures that sometimes it would take decades to build these churches, if not even on 100 years plus to build some of these churches. And I wondered, and I've read about the fact that some people even during the day would wonder, what are we spending all this time, money, and resources for to build these churches? But most of the people in the day, they say they were all behind it. They were enthusiastic about it as their show of faith. So church is one of the things we were going to be seeing a lot of while we were here. Off to a walk now this afternoon. We were headed over to a museum, but on the way there we went through Plaza Mayor. This is another hallmark of your big European city. The big main plaza, which has been a meeting place for centuries for people. And Plaza Mayor today, still to this day, was full of people. And then that afternoon we made it over to the Takin Museum. This was Kelly and I's third time to come to Madrid, so we had already been to the Prado, but we had never been to the Takin before. And so we enjoyed our afternoon seeing some of the artwork. As you can tell from the video, we've been using a combination of public transportation as well as doing a lot of walking. And that's one of the great things about a city with great public transportation like Madrid, is you can get just about anywhere you need to get to, and it's very convenient. So we were going to be done for the day, and we will be looking forward to seeing you guys in the next episode, where we'll finish up our time in Madrid and then be off to Sevilla. See you next time.